That's the end of it. Moratorium's over. Maybe this will force people to get back to getting a job and all.
Actually, it was reinstated.
How?
Illegally.
You've got to be kidding me. For zang-a-lang and salutations, my lovely little lunatics. It's me, your friendly internet psychopath Insanity, here with my co-host Bob.
Hello.
And today, on the Insane Report, the moratorium is back. And through pretty much illegal means.
So it shows that if you have power, even if the courts say that's not legal, no one cares.
Nope, it doesn't seem to matter at all. But before we jump into it, make sure to subscribe for more madness in the news. As well as follow us on Locals,
Rumbles,
Mind,
and PocketNet.
and maybe throw $1 or $2 at us on PayPal to help keep the asylum running. Anywho, so, on Saturday, the eviction moratorium finally ended. This was after, in June 29th, if I'm correct, yes it was, the Supreme Court came out and said the CDC does not have the power to actually do the whole moratorium. And also it goes partially against the Constitution because this is the government basically taking people's homes and or property and not compensating them.
Well, they have the money.
Yes, they have the money to compensate them, but they don't get it out. Because, as always, anything run by government runs worse than if it was run by a private entity.
Yeah, because the government's never held accountable.
Never. Not really. So, everyone is in loop, because here's the thing. So, the Supreme Court came out and said the only way this can continue is if Congress comes together and actually does it. Because, once again, CDC does not have the right to do any of this. It does not legally have the authority to do this. Like, maybe over, like, a month or two, but not over 16 months.
It really been 16 months?
That's from the information I got. That's when they put it in, yeah. So, yeah, it's illegal. You can't do that.
But we all know something being illegal doesn't keep politicians from doing it.
No, not at all. Just like, I think I've got the story, yeah, the one about Whitmer.
And the one with Cuomo. Oh, that's illegal? Okay, well, I'll just shut that down and do a new one. Then they have to make that one illegal as well.
It's so stupid, but that's the way politics works.
After all, they know best, and you're too stupid to live your own lives. Also, we need you to just keep existing and shutting up.
Okay, yeah. Hey, let's get on with it. Here we go. From Daily Mail. AOC and the squad celebrate as Biden proposes the CDC begin new 60-day moratorium on evictions. President admits move may be challenged in the court. Well, it is unconstitutional. You already said a while ago that you cannot do this.
But when has that stopped anyone?
Never has. The CDC extended the eviction moratorium for 60 days, which once again, it's going through the CDC, which doesn't have the ability to do this, but they're still doing it anyways.
Don't try to think about it.
It risks being challenged in the court. Yeah, it does. President Joe Biden admits it may not be constitutional. The Constitution is Swiss cheese at this point. Free speech?
Out the window.
Your 2A rights?
Well, always infringed.
This kind of The order will allow more time to further increase vaccination rates, the CDC said, calling it an effective public health measure. It's not going to do that at all. It's not going to do squat. It will target counties with elevated rates of coronavirus infections. Now, this might actually be something I'd be okay with.
But don't like 90% of the counties across the United States have elevated rates due to the Delta variant?
Yes! Speaker Pelosi refused to bring Congress back to vote on the matter. I'm so tired of this. But, yeah. Okay. CDC order explained. The order will be until October 3rd. And then they're just going to push it again. And they're going to make it around Christmas. And you can't get rid of people during Christmas. Vaccination rates, it will cover, about 90% of renters in the country. Not 90% of the country, 90% of renters because of where they live and everything's going everywhere. The moratorium is the right thing to do to keep people in their homes and out of the congregate settings where CCP-19 spreads. President Joe Biden noted they will probably give some additional time for renters, assistance funds to flow. But once again, here's the big thing. Now, this is one thing. I got to give it to AOC for this.
AOC administration spar on eviction moratorium. We cannot in good faith blame the Republican Party when the House Democrats have the majority. The progressive New York's Democrats said on CNN's State of the Union. Okay.
Yeah, basically, more so read what she says.
Okie dokie. The House and House leadership had the opportunity to vote to extend the moratorium. We cannot in good faith blame the Republican Party when the Democrats have the House majority. Progressive Democrats said on CNN's State of the Union. This court order came down on the White House a month ago, and the White House waited until the day before the House adjourned to release a statement asking Congress to extend the moratorium. Member of Biden's administration on Sunday pushed back strongly on the characterization, with millions of renters who are behind in their payments or just not paying at all at risk of homelessness after efforts to extend the moratorium fizzled after a midnight deadline. Congress has sent out tens of billions of dollars to state municipalities, meaning governors are largely responsible for establishing rental help programs. The House government state.
Give it a second.
I'm going boiled bread Biden. The state governments need to get it together, but we cannot kick people out of their homes when our end of the bargain has not been fulfilled. Wow, she's actually making sense.
She does that sometimes.
Out of $46 billion that has been allocated, only $3 billion has gone out to renters to help small mom-and-pop landlords.
Okay, then they just want to extend the moratorium, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But yeah, so she actually stood up against them.
Well, isn't this also against the whole thing that she was supposed to do something?
I think it was like, it was another thing that she promised she would do, and then she didn't stand up for it.
Yeah, people were pretty angry about that. Like, they actually showed up to her office, and her office was closed that day.
Yeah, but anywho, you gotta give her a pat on the back when she does something right, and I'll give her a clap for that. Anywho, continuing on. From Al Jazeera. Extended eviction ban faces legal political backlash. The U.S. government's authority prohibiting evictions is as seen as questionable as Biden Democrats change course. Legal uncertainty. We'll go here. Joe Biden has no authority to tell people what they can or cannot do with their private property, Parnell said in a statement. Employers are begging people to come to work. There's zero excuse for this anymore. That is kind of true on that. Also, the Biden administration just stuck its finger in the eye of the United States Supreme Court and our Constitution with its legal eviction ban. The renewed CDC eviction ban came after the White House officials had insisted on Monday they did not have legal authority to reissue the ban. Biden himself acknowledged the legal landscape was uncertain when he previewed the CDC's order for reporters at the White House on Tuesday. I've sought out constitutional scholars to determine what is the best possibility that would come from an executive action or the CDC's judgment. What could they do that would most likely pass muster constitutionally? The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says it is not likely to pass constitutional muster.
But they do it anyways.
Why not? You have to go through the courts. It's going to take time to get. There are several key scholars who think it may and it's worth the effort. No, it's not. The U.S. Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision in June had allowed the CDC's previous ban on evictions to remain in place temporarily, but signaled it in its opinion the court doubted the CDC's legal standing without specific authority from Congress, and then Congress didn't do it. A lower court in May had ruled in favor of the coalition of landlords led by Alabama Association of Realtors. Congress never gave the CDC the staggering amount of power it now claims. White House senior advisor Gene Sperling had said Monday at the White House briefing that the administration lawyers had been unable to find legal authority for even new targeted eviction moratoriums. Biden noted that the time legality of the CDC order is adjudicated in court. It will probably have reached its 60-day expiration.
Once again, it doesn't matter if it's illegal. By the time it's done, it won't be a problem anymore.
The Biden administration expected the large sum of aid to tenants and landlords under the $46.5 billion federal program will have been distributed, easing circumstances of many. I don't know how long this has been around, how long that fund has been around.
At least 10 months, I'd bet.
And you only got $3 billion of it. 7%. God. You think it's magically going to get done now? But yeah, so I've got two more, and they're talking about that stuff. But then I think this is just the best one. This basically explains their mindset, the whole situation. Remember back when Governor Whitmer just kept her emergency powers and she wouldn't give them up?
Yep.
And then even the courts said, no. Yeah, you don't have these powers?
Yep.
And then she went around and found a new way to do it anyways because I have the power, go screw yourselves. High Court strike down Governor Whitmer's emergency powers. The governor vows to use by other means. In a landmark ruling with far-reaching implications, the Michigan Supreme Court decided Friday that this is back on October 2nd, 2020. Decided that Governor Whitmer violated her constitutional authority by continuing to issue orders to combat CCP-19 without the approval of the state lawmakers. The state's high courts ruled 4-3 that a state allowing the governor to declare emergencies and keep them in place without legislation input, the 1945 Emergency Powers of the Governor's Act, is unconstitutional. So, okay, yeah, they said, no, you can't do this, blah, 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 blah. Whitmer argued her powers will remain in place for at least 21 days, an apparent reference to a 21-day period in which the governor can request a rehearing for more time. The Magic argued that the decision ends Whitmer's executive power immediately, or at the very least as soon as the federal judge uses the ruling to decide the case. Said against Whitmer, our decision leaves open many avenues for the governor and the legislature to work together. Whitmer said Friday she vehemently disagrees with the court's ruling, which she said made Michigan an outlier among the majority of states that have emergency orders in place. The governor said that even after the Supreme Court ruling takes effect, her directives will remain in place. Alternative sources of authority. They don't care. They just don't care. Because they can do whatever they want because they are in power and you're just some useless little drone. They know what's best even when the courts say otherwise. They just go around it because obviously, as Biden said, it'll take the courts probably about 60 days to get to us. So why not just push it through for another 60 days? And then they'll do it again in a different way for another 60 days because they're not getting the $44 billion. They're not getting the rest of that money out. It's not getting out.
And also the biggest thing isn't like the whole thing just like 20 billion?
Yeah, it's around 21 billion that's needed.
So they'll have like another 23 billion just sitting there.
Yep. But they can't get it out because it's too hard to do their jobs. Once again, they're talking about there now that lockdowns are seeming like it's going to happen again.
Yeah, we're buying up a bunch of stuff again.
Yeah, buying more ammo and stuff like that because I'm glad I live in Texas because there ain't no way that stuff's gonna go crazy here. And also, it's kind of funny because now those people who moved out.
Oh God, I'm betting they wish they stayed.
Yep. Well, hopefully most of them were actually decent people and just decided, you know what? If I can't pay, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, this is beyond concerning.
Oh no, yeah, this is gonna get to a point because once again, renters either can't or won't pay, but landlords are still expected to take care of the property, pay the insurance, and overall just keep it safe. So say suddenly something still breaks, but the landlord didn't have enough money to fix it, and someone gets hurt, they get sued. And so, of course, that property is going to get sold to places like BlackRock. And then eventually they'll own more and more and more and more and more, meaning I won't be able to actually own a home and I'll be a renter forever.
You'll own nothing and you'll like it.
Never let a good tragedy go to waste. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this little video. If you like this video, then check the like button and subscribe for more.
Insanity.
And I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.